Welcome to the Horror Globe. And if you haven't seen the first part of this, then it's on my channel. Check it out. We're talking about The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick version, versus The Shining, the Stephen King miniseries TV version. And I just got into the part where basically I started to watch The Shining, the miniseries, after so much hate for how Kubrick had gone wrong with the great source material. I was ready to sit down and watch it done right. I was ready to see The Shining done the way Stephen King meant it. Overly long and kind of boring. When Stephen King said he wanted to do it right, like the book, I kind of thought he meant he wanted to film what was in the book, not the book. I mean, no, literally, it's like he filmed the book, and just put like a couple things in there. Film and print media, they're two different mediums, and when you're reading a novel, it's leisurely paced. Usually, you can get into it. You can get your mind around the characters, and you can pretend and really understand where the characters are coming from. You have your own vision, your own, and that doesn't seem to be paced awkwardly because you're reading it as a novel. It's meant to be leisurely paced. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's kind of like you sit back and you can just immerse yourself into the world, and that's what reading's all about. That's what's so important and exciting about actually being able to read every once in a while. That's why when it comes to 31 Days of Halloween, I'm not just doing horror movies, I'm actually reading stuff too. I'm rereading a couple books right now that I've read a while back. I do a horror reading challenge down the road, but Stephen King literally decided to take the book and make it into a movie without any concept of making an actual movie. I mean, everything in this movie, this miniseries version, is explained and over-explained and over-explained. And Stephen King does some great dialogue in his books, but you don't go to the movies or even sit down to watch TV to listen to dialogue after dialogue after dialogue after dialogue after dialogue after dialogue. The movie's supposed to be at least a visual representation of what's in the book. You jazz it up. Books aren't going to be exactly like movies. You don't want them to be exactly like movies. If you want to, you just film somebody reading the book. And that's how it feels for a lot of this one here. There are pluses and minuses for both of these things. Let's face it, the Kubrick movie had little to do with the Shining, the book, except the fact that the kid's psychic, the place is haunted, guy goes crazy, wow! It happens. But Jack Nicholson always comes across as crazy. He seems crazy from the beginning. When he's normal Jack Nicholson, he's crazy Jack Nicholson. When he's crazy Jack Nicholson, hey, guess what? He's still crazy Jack Nicholson. He's amped his crazy up a little bit, but it's still crazy. Steven Weber does a better job in the role of Jack Torrance. Yes, I know. Oh, crucify me, but it's true. He actually plays Torrance like Torrance should be played. He's normal when he's supposed to be normal, and he's by far and large crazy when he's supposed to be crazy. There's a natural progression that comes in there, and that's good. I enjoy that. And I did enjoy certain aspects of The Shining. But let's go into one of the big differences here. And it really annoyed King, I think, is that in the book The Shining, he uses a croquet mallet to as his weapon of choice. And not thinking that's scary enough, I think, Kubrick decided that the axe would be a better choice. You know, axe, Halloran in the stomach, and poor Scatman Crothers is killed, as often happens to minority characters in horror films. Yeah, but in the miniseries version, they decided to actually go with the croquet mallet. And when I watched The Shining, the Kubrick version. I was always saying, hey, that was a croquet mallet. That's not supposed to be an axe. How you're cheapening my book. I was wrong. I was really, 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 really wrong. The mallet doesn't work as well. It's TV, so I'm guessing they were like, "Yay, we'll use that mallet," but the sense of dread and fear just isn't quite there the same. It's like whack-a-mole. I mean, sure, Steven Weber does a good job of going crazy, and so does Jack Nicholson. They're both great when it comes to the crazy part aspect of it. But Jack Nicholson swings an axe and smashes through the walls and grabs, like, bam, Halloran's right through the stomach. It's a pretty brutal scene. The TV version of the exact same scenes, well, neither one of them played quite as well. It just doesn't ring as true, and it's just kind of silly. You don't feel the sense of danger and the sense of urgency. Let me put it to you this way: if I come after you with a huge brick, and you have no weapon, and you're running, and I can like smash your head in, that can be pretty threatening. If I come after you with a pillow, not so much. But and now in the TV version of The Shining, we get to see what his imaginary friend Tony looks like, and there's a reason for that. That'll become clear at the end, and yeah, I think it was meant to be clever. No, I really think it's meant to be clever. It's they do like spend a lot of time getting to it, and honestly, you really look at it for like more than 2 minutes, you probably know. Yeah, the spoilers alert. It's the kid. It's Danny. He's grown up. He's like, you're gonna see later on. There's gonna be a graduation scene that's pretty pointless, just to make it seem happier at the end, and like do the happy ending that they'd originally thought about, and see that, hey, he was psychically warning himself. Clever, huh? Okay, wasn't that clever? No, not a little bit. Tiny bit, kind of clever. Okay. Things to like about each one. Obviously, Kubrick is a visual director, and that is on display so well in The Shining. It is probably one of his most beautifully visual movies. And let's face it, it's much better than Barry Lyndon and watching how well he can film candles. That movie's way overrated. Stephen King one does, well, I gotta go with like a popular opinion here and actually say yes, he does a good job with the Jack Torrance character. I mean, he's got 4 hours to do it, so yeah, and the fact that Steven Weber does not seem batshit crazy like Jack Nicholson does, it helps, and it really rounds out the character. Rebecca De Mornay as Wendy actually is not as annoying, and it doesn't seem like a misogynistic portrayal of a female character that's weak and just can't do anything. So Rebecca De Mornay's character is definitely a step up from Shelley Duvall. I love Shelley Duvall in The Shining for what she has to do, but I feel bad every time I watch it because I know this girl is going through hell, and I'm not talking about in the movie. Um, it's a painful performance to watch because she's being tortured pretty much on and off the screen. So it really takes away from the performance of the film. It really does. And you can pretty much tell that Shelley Duvall is not having a good time when she's making The Shining. Rebecca Mornay's character is more of a modern approach on to Wendy, and more. God, this would seem really, really wrong if her name isn't actually Wendy. So, even if it isn't, I'm going to say it is. And if not, I'm just going to pretend this is all Peter Pan. Yeah. But overall, the characterization of Wendy and that's Wendy, right? And Jack are done extremely well in the miniseries, and they're not done as well in the movie. The movie's a great, scary visual ride, but it's not a great character piece. Jack isn't portrayed or fleshed out in the way that he should be. Even in a 2-hour movie, it's pretty much a one-note character that is in different levels of crazy all throughout the film. Wendy is Wendy's screamy character that looks like she's just had just a little bit too much caffeine. She kind of reminds me of Twitch from South Park. You really can't. But the boy is so likable in the Kubrick movie that. And yes, I did like the boy in the Kubrick movie. I thought he was more. He made me fear for him and fear for his life, and the fact there was an axe helped as well. The visuals in the Kubrick movie are extremely well done. It is extremely creepy, and that was Kubrick's attempt at horror, and I think he did overall a pretty good job with it. Stephen King had done horror, attempted to do horror before, and that was Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I know. I'll review it sometime. But you'll owe me. You will owe me big. Overall, both have their pluses and minuses. Which is the better one to go for? Well, if you're in for a Halloween scare, then you're probably going to want to watch the Kubrick version because it is way, way scarier than the miniseries version. If you're in it just for the characterization of the character, then yeah, you're probably going to head on over and watch the miniseries because it does have some pretty good characterization, and the characters are fleshed out a bit more, and they do have time to flesh the characters out more. Overall, though, buy them both. I'm going to watch the Kubrick version. It's the superior version. I hate to say it because Stephen King, I really love your book. And I really love The Shining. I read it more times than I can imagine. And I would love to see it done right. And the actors in the movie were great. Yes, the kid was a little bit on the Shelley Duvall side, but still. That's my verdict. The Kubrick Shining wins out, and that's actually surprising since I was one of the people that did not originally go for the Kubrick Shining and was excited to see a more faithful to the book version of The Shining come out. But at the end of the day, it's not as interesting. Filming the book just is about as interesting in some points as if Stephen King had put the book on a table and filmed it. So hope you enjoy my actual second review for the Horror Globe. And right now for me it's time for one thing, because after watching 6 hours of this Shining stuff, yeah, I think I deserve the caffeine, guys. It's time for tea.